Welcome back to the Get There One Day podcast. You'll wonder why it's me introducing it this week, and that is because on Friday, my girlfriend and I bought our first house at the age of 19. So today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about that, what the process has been, why we've done it, how we've done it, the risks or the potential risks, and how we're mitigating against those risks, and ultimately why we think it's a good decision rather than a risk, which is what we've been told by a lot of people.
Absolutely. So why don't you kick us off by talking about why you've bought a house?
Uh, we didn't actually want to move out at this age, I don't think. 19's young to buy a house. It's a lot of responsibility and commitment, especially financially at a young age. We stumbled across a house which is basically like our dream first house. It's um, two up, two down terrace, like not nothing special by any means necessarily, but it's been recently renovated. It's in really good nick. It was an absolute bargain. It's in a really nice part of where we live. Um, 30-second walk from our local pub as well, which is always handy. And we sort of thought, well, we probably won't find anything as good as this at this point, so just sort of bit the bullet and went for it. And yeah, here we are. Don't regret it yet, but it's been 4 days, so we'll see. Bills haven't started yet, but I think yeah, it wasn't necessarily the idea of buying a house at 19 that appealed to us. It was the house itself, and then we thought, can we afford it? Actually, yeah, we can. Let's go for it. Um, so yeah, as I say, we've done the calculations a million times, and we can afford it. Like it's not like we've taken a huge risk here, and that's what I think is really important about having two incomes. That's the only thing that's made this possible at such a young age, because otherwise it would have been a really, really steep ask.
Yes, let's talk a bit more about that because obviously a lot of people will be wondering how you've done it, and many people will probably assume that your parents just bought it for you or something like this. So do you want to walk us through as much as you're comfortable with how you've been able
Yeah.
to afford this?
So bringing in actual figures, it's a £225,000 house. Being first time buyers, we are able to get a 5% deposit. Um, Splitting that 50-50, it becomes a 2.5% deposit each. So the 5% deposit of £11,750, I think it was, becomes about 5,625 each, I think was the figure, which isn't actually a huge amount of money. Like you were talking the other day about doing tutoring, you're on £40 an hour. If you ran that up a little bit, you could easily get 6 grand in the bank. Um, so yeah, that's not a massive amount of money. The source of those funds. Um, so you talk about mummy and daddy's money. I did get some money. I'm not going to hide from it. My grandparents put some money into a child savings account, which matured when I was 18. I ended up spending more of that than I probably should have done on our holiday through Europe interrailing. And then a bit of that money's gone towards other things, like I put it to a car insurance, for example, last summer. But then quite a bit of that's gone towards a deposit. I've been working since I was 14, part time. Um, so I had a little savings account towards the house. So that was like a few hundred quid from that. And then I started full time work about 16, nearly 18 months ago. And I've been saving towards it since then as well. So it's a mixture. I've definitely, it's not, I like to bring it back to last week or the week before we were talking about the gym and how even if you've like enhanced, you still require a huge amount of effort. I have had a step up financially, which I'm very grateful for, but I've still done a lot of saving myself. I've had to work very hard. And ultimately, with both Georgia and myself, have worked very hard to get in these jobs where we can afford the monthly payments and the bills, etc., that come with this house. So yeah, deposit wise, a big part of the deposit did come from the money that I received, but a bit of it came from myself as well. And then in terms of monthly payments, etc., it's all coming from myself and Georgia. So yeah, less
Yeah.
support than people would probably assume.
Because obviously, as a degree apprentice, you're somewhat more independent when it comes to earning. So it's not like you're a uni student buying a house because A, that would be a bit silly, given after uni you're probably going to go somewhere else. For you, you're sort of in a job. You've got a prospect there for the next probably say at least 4 years.
Yeah,
It could be more if you choose to stay on. So having a permanent residence is sounds like a good idea, really. And I think you know it's all well and good for people to say, oh well, you've got loads of money from people who've given you the money. But like, if you've got money, you may as well use it. And some of us will inherit money. Certainly, I've been inheriting money recently. Um, Doing something positive with that, I think we can both agree that the way you spent money on our holiday was potentially not the best way of spending money. I remember at that waterfront cafe or restaurant in Marseille where we decided to just drink as many beers as we fancied without checking the beer cost. And it turned out that each beer was around £8. So, and we had five each. So
Wasn't
the bill
even
ended
wasn't
up
even
being,
nice beer. It was Ruddles.
yeah, yeah. Um, and it like, so the bill ended up being 150, 200 quid, bearing
Mm.
in mind that like we've got to survive for another two countries on interrailing.
Yeah, we were good.
Um,
We weren't even halfway into the holiday at this point.
Yeah, so at least you're spending your money on something good, I'd say. Something that's
Yeah.
gonna, because now you're on the housing ladder, right? So that's a big benefit. When it comes to getting a new house, because obviously this isn't your final aspiration for a house that you'll have. I mean, to be honest, like many of us would dream just to have some kind of roof over our head that's our own. So yeah, in a way, it's a
We were
great step
extremely
up. But
fortunate.
if it comes to it, you can sell that or whatever, and then
Mm.
move on to a bigger house. But yeah, talk me through kind of the process around it, from kind of putting in the offer to getting accepted and moving in and all that. How's it been going?
So I was literally the 20th of September. So we were recording this on the 3rd of February. And on the 20th of September, I was sort of just scrolling through Rightmove for entertain. I think a few people do that sometimes, just scroll through and look at houses just to see what's about purely for your own entertainment. And then I stumbled across this and I sent it to my girlfriend and basically said, this looks really good, we should look into this. We did. We booked a viewing the following week, put an offer in that day. Excuse me. He wanted 230,000. We offered 215, which was I think was a bit cheeky. He instantly rejected that. Then we offered 220. He rejected that, so we went for 225, and he accepted it. From then, I can't even remember, but you have to like instruct conveyancers and all the rest of it who do your paperwork and the sort of the legal side of things. We paid for a mortgage advisor, which was 395 quid because the deal that they found us gives us £500 cash back on our mortgage. So like that pays for itself and more. It was profitable to do that.
Hmm.
So that was useful. But yeah, it's a very long process. The worst part for me, and I think the part where people do need to remain patient, was where we were, I think from early December until probably the middle of January, we didn't hear a single thing. The guy who was selling it wasn't responding to any emails, and that was really long. So we thought it was probably going to fall through at that point. But we just persevered. And I think every month that it was delayed by was more money we could spend or save, sorry, which was really useful. Um, so yeah, I think it's daunting. I think, and the mortgage advisors and our solicitors and all the rest of it had a very similar outlook that a lot of people have had, which was, "Oh, you're so young. How are you doing this?" They're a bit skeptical, but actually, I think most people have been quite supportive. And touch wood, it's going quite well so far. But it was a long process, and our patience was tested quite a bit. And it's quite stressful. Like people do renovations. I was speaking to some friends of ours that have just bought a house and done a renovation last night, and they do this whole process of all the conveyancing and the mortgage advising and all the rest of it. And then even after that, they have to then go and do loads of building work and do a house. And I just couldn't be asked. It's a stressful process, and it's not for the weak. So yeah, I'm glad it's over with.
Yeah, because even without having to do all the building work, I mean, you're still having to furnish the house, aren't you? So how's that going?
Yeah, it's expensive. I mean, what have we paid for? We've done, I think, £500 on a mattress and 400, or on a mattress and a mattress topper, and £400 on a bed frame, which my nan's paid for. I'm currently sat on a picnic chair and at a picnic table, and that's what my work setup's been today and yesterday. So yeah, that's far from ideal as well. But yeah, it's been expensive. It's been stressful. Our clothes are hung on rails, like just makeshift rails at the moment. I mean, we can afford the house. Can we afford the furniture? That's a separate issue, I think, and maybe a more of a long-term one. We've got a sofa off marketplace. It's just stressful. Like you think it's over with once you've got the house, but it's not. It's stressful. I mean, like, you know, having the roof over your head, as you say, is the most important thing, but it doesn't stop there. It's a long process, and you've got to be ready for it. But I think probably the reason, and I'd be interested to hear your input on this, the reason that so many young people struggle to get houses these days is because, like the deposit, I just said to you, the deposit is probably quite affordable. But then it comes to actually furnishing it and, all the things that come alongside buying a house, that's where it becomes challenging. And I think, especially if you've gone to university, financially, it does become a bit of a challenge. And I'd be interested to hear what you think about
Yeah, I think, I mean, you obviously say it's not a huge amount of money. That is the case when you're earning kind of a salary, maybe. But then, of course, I think a lot of people end up getting kind of locked into having a lot of bills to pay. You start earning money, and then you like, oh, well, I'll get a new phone. And then, you're losing 50 quid a
that.
month. Um, so I think you're quite fortunate to have that opportunity to have that bit of money that you can put on a deposit.
Yeah.
For me, I've got a lifetime ISA. So the
When did
benefit
you
of
open that?
those, I opened that, I want to say probably when I was 18, because that's when I had one of these savings accounts where your parents pay into it a little bit as you're growing up. And then it sort of matured when I was 18. So then I had to choose kind of what I wanted to do with all the money. So I put half of it, slightly under half, into a standard ISA. And then the other half went into a lifetime ISA. And what's the difference, you ask? Well, a lifetime ISA, essentially, the government will pay into it a little bit. So for every £4,000 a year you put in, they'll put in an extra 25%, I think it is. So they incentivize you to put money in there. Obviously, there's a downside, which is that it's not really one of those where you can just take the money out. You can only use it for your first house, or I think potentially like your first car and stuff like this.
Mm.
But there,
But you
it's a
get
very,
heavily penalised, don't you? If you withdraw money to anything other than, I think there's three or four things you can do it for, but other than that, you get
yeah.
massively penalised.
I'm sure I could withdraw the money, but I'd probably lose the money that the government put in. So I think that's a good option to have, because at least I know that um, I've got some money lying around for when I need something like a deposit. And certainly my parents have started, I think, or are going to start paying a bit of money into that, which is obviously something that I can't really do, given I'm kind of, whilst I don't have a house, I do still have rent to pay, which
Yeah.
is, well,
Your,
obviously
I
more
think your
than the
rent's actually
mortgage.
more than, yeah, your rent's more than my mortgage, which is, I
Yeah.
don't know, that feels wrong to me.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I didn't put down a massive deposit,
Yeah.
and we all know that rent is a bit of a scam. You know, I'm more than covering their costs for giving me this house, but that's how it
Can
works.
you talk me through, so just talk me through a little bit, please, how much your rent is, whether it's bills included, how many there are of you, and what that means to your landlord financially.
Yeah. So it's a five-person house, five-bedroom house. It's just up off the London Road in Bath, which is kind of the main road in Bath, but it's slightly above the city almost, up the hill. It's a fairly like ugly house, I'd say. It's not the most attractive house. It's terraced, but it is fairly nice. Not much of a garden to speak of, and it's £600 per month per person. So the house in total is 3 grand a month, um, and that's excluding bills. So then, as a student, you're offered either you can sort your own bills out, or you can pay Uni Homes, who are the provider, the sort of what they call the estate agent, or the
Yeah.
um,
You say the estate agent, yeah, in that
yeah.
instance.
You can pay them to sort it for you. And we chose to do that because they made it seem like it was going to be not much more expensive than just doing it yourself. That's a lie. I don't know why they say that to people, because it's just blatantly not true. So if you're looking at getting your second year uni house, do the bills yourself, because I'm paying about, I think it's 100 a month for bills.
What does that, is
My
that your
mate,
gas, electric, water, council
Wi-Fi,
tax? Oh, you don't get council tax because you're
we're exempt as
students,
students,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, you like submit meter readings to them, so they kind of keep it on track. My Wi-Fi has broken like several times. I don't think that's really anything to do with uni homes, but Yeah, it's not been great. I think my mate's been paying around 40 or 50 pounds a month when he's doing his own bills. Obviously, it varies. In the summer, you're going to barely pay anything because heating's really expensive. Um, but yeah, so he's paying like half what I'm paying, and
Mm.
that's not what I was led to believe. So that's certainly something to bear in mind when you're looking at whether you should pay your own bills or not.
Uh, to contrast that with buying, so my mortgage is slightly less than you. It's 550 a month, and that's each. So I guess it's £1,100 a month on mortgage, which is a lot in terms of sort of the average monthly mortgage payment. But £550 each is actually quite manageable when you've got income. And then council tax comes to, I think, £140 between the two of us, so that's £70 each. Uh, our water is very cheap. Our water is like £17 a month each. I think it's £35 a month for the two of us, which I think is really good.
Yeah.
Um, Gas and electric is £100 a month for the two of us, which I think is a lot, so £50 each. But then you just keep splitting it up, and actually, it's not that much money at all in the big scheme of things. Um, well, it is, but it's not really any more expensive than being at uni. When you look at all the
Yeah.
bills.
I'm
Um,
surprised how expensive your individual bills are, given kind of what I've heard about what people are paying when they do their own bills. Maybe it's different when
I
you
think
own your own house.
I don't know. Well, I don't know why it would be any less. I think one thing about uni compared to us, Georgia and I work from home 3 or 4 days a week, both of us, so we're at home most of the day. We're using the electric most of the day. Whereas at uni, I guess you're up on campus a lot of the day. You spend a lot of time. You come home a few weekends a year, etc. So there's those little things that could probably make a slight difference, but I don't know what the difference would be or
Well, I
why the
think we're
difference would
comparing
be so.
apples to oranges here because ours is a five-person house, yours is a two-person house.
It's a lot.
So our bills are going to be cheaper, like per person, because
Is that £100 per person or £100 between the lot of you for your bills?
£100 per person. So
Right, that makes more
it is
sense.
quite a lot more
Okay.
expensive, right? Like
Yeah,
so for
yeah,
me
yeah. Okay.
individually, it's cheaper than for you.
Yeah.
Um, well, actually, it
But
isn't even if you're splitting it between you and Georgia, but it's I guess maybe it's about the same. But yeah, no, for the five of us in total, the bills I guess probably are quite extortionate. Um,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear the experience of someone who isn't in like Bath isn't a notoriously expensive city to live in. I think it's the
mm,
second most expensive after London. So I'd be interested if somebody that was in like Leeds or somewhere, I don't know, somewhere a bit less sort of
yeah,
high end. I don't know. That's not a very nice way of putting it, but somewhere where just it's generally cheaper to live. Because I think you're probably getting shafted a bit by being in Bath, and if you went to Imperial, it would have been the same. Um,
yeah. I
but
mean,
yeah,
Bath, like, it's getting even worse. So if you're thinking of coming to Bath Uni, the prices of houses are going up. In fact, everything's going up. The gym's going up for some reason. It's already 360 quid and they keep putting it up.
is that
Um,
as in uni gym?
yeah.
What's the
Um,
gym group subscription membership? Sorry, for a year for you.
Gym Group Bath is for, I think I did 9 months and it was about 198. Um,
That's not that
so
bad, is
pretty
it?
good. It
Yeah,
was pretty good. That was the cheapest option. The Pure Gym's slightly more like 215, 250 maybe.
that's
Um,
probably gym is my biggest non-house related outgoing, which is £90 a month. But we could David Lloyd. Um,
don't understand
George's
it.
George's been, and I don't think you think it's worth it, do you?
No, I mean, well, mine's like it works out to about 20 a month and I still get a gym, still get all the cardio equipment. I just don't get a pool. Obviously, it's different for me because I do actually quite want a pool, but
Mm.
I pay for that. I don't pay for that. I guess I pay for that with my 9.8 grand a year uni fees. But yeah, I get it free through the uni.
Yeah, do
So
you have to book it, don't you? It's quite hard to get into the pool at uni.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's hard. Like, so I went earlier. You essentially just book like the day before or that day, and then you show up. Um, Not too stressful, really. It's a
Mm.
50-meter pool, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah, because the Olympians been like that have come from Bath Uni, aren't they? Like it's a decent little setup. How's your swimming
Yeah,
challenge going, by the way?
the swimming challenge hasn't quite started yet because
Uh,
I think it starts in March, but I'm sort of preparing for it because obviously I haven't been swimming in a good long while. So yeah,
Yeah.
today was the first session. Get easing myself back into it. It's something that you never fully forget. Like you obviously don't forget how to swim. It's like riding a bike, but you get significantly worse at it. And obviously I've got a bit heavier. I think I'm like 86 kilos now, so it does feel like I'm stopping myself from sinking sometimes. Um,
Going slightly off tangent, like from the house here, but like you say about the swimming and that, I think I swim probably 3 or 4 times a week at the gym. I go, well, I didn't last week because I was moving house, but like in the sauna, I probably do again 3 or 4 times a week, steam room, all that. So I do use it, but
yeah,
£90 a month when you're on a tight budget is a lot of money to spend on a gym. Um, and that's
yeah.
probably my
I'd be
most
thinking if
questionable
you're
outgoing.
yeah if you're worrying about if you're going to afford furniture for your house, then I'd be getting rid of that David Lloyd
I think
subscription.
I'm overstating it. Like we can afford the furniture, fine. It's just a case of can we be asked to actually go out and buy it is more the thing.
Mm,
Hence why our clothes are on clothes racks as we speak. But I've just had a message from Georgia sending me her IKEA online order that she's done while she's in
yeah,
work today. So it's yeah, having a girlfriend when you're moving house is actually very helpful because I don't know what you'd be like, but I'm personally just I don't really care too much about furniture, whereas George has got a very clear idea of
neither.
what she
No.
wants it to look like. So and it actually ends up looking really nice. Um, so I've it's yeah, I just basically get told when to send money and where, and I've got a very easy life. So I make
Yeah,
out that it's been stressful. I've done like half the work that she has. But yeah, I think the furnishing the house is the part that some people enjoy. Personally, I could, yeah, I could happily just sleep on a sofa on the mat on the floor or a mattress or something like that. I have no
yeah. I think
preference.
if I had a lot of money, I think I could probably quite enjoy it. Like if I was designing
Mm,
this really cool, like I don't know, podcast studio, for example, I'd probably find that quite
one day,
enjoyable.
one
Are you
day.
are you dedicating a room to a podcast studio? Is it or
Yeah,
is
that's
this
what
your
we're in right now.
unofficial
It's
one?
a podcast room, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, I
The
mean, yeah. Like, what do you really need though for a house? I mean,
I'm saying,
so
like, it's an office. It's an we work from home. It's an office slash podcast studio.
yeah, I'd say we both have very large aspirations, and I think it is important when you have aspirations to have things. So, say you want to be successful and earn a lot of money. I think it is important to have things that you might spend money on. There's a big thing about sort of um, creating like boards of things that you'd like to buy if you get rich, and then it apparently motivates you to work harder. Um, I think that is important to have some stuff in the back of your mind. But I used to be obsessed with like cars, for example, and now I couldn't really care less. Like someone was like, "Oh, if you get rich, what car are you going to buy?" And I was like, I don't even know.
I
I'll
get
think
asked
about
that
that when I
question
get
all the
rich.
time. I get asked that all the time, and I'm just like, "It's something reliable that's not going to break down. That's all I care about."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. There. I mean, it's all about where you set your goals. Again, going back to goals. I do think I want to be successful and rich, but equally, I think I'd be happy with, you know, being in a small house like you're in currently, as long as I've got like a TV, um, obviously with my girlfriend, maybe a pet. I think you
oh,
can,
this pets, man. So we moved in on Friday, and George has already been on the adoption dog site. She's genuinely got a heart set on getting a dog. I'd like to hear
yeah,
people's opinions on this about whether we're 19, we go away, like we're going to London this weekend. We're looking at going to Lisbon in March. Like there's a lot of we're quite busy 19-year-olds. We're out a lot. We travel a lot. Is it fair on us and is it fair on a dog for us to now get a dog, which we probably look after half the time? I just don't think it is.
no, and it's not fair on, well, it either ends up being not fair on the dog or not fair on your relatives or not fair on your
Hmm.
pocket because either you send it to a kennel or a dog sitter, preferably a dog sitter because kennels are horrible for the dogs, or you send it to a relative or family member or friend, and then obviously they're bearing that burden. You can't really expect them to
Yeah.
do that, whenever you want to say travel, for example. Like our family, I've always grown up with dogs, and as a result, well, with my family, I've only been abroad once,
Hmm.
if you don't count Guernsey. Um,
Because of the dogs.
yeah, so like when my first dog died, we took the opportunity to go to Morocco, as bad as it sounds. but we'd never been away
Why
before as
not?
a
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
We'd always just go to like, the furthest we'd go afield was Scotland. And that's fine, but I think it's a tricky
They
one.
hold you back. They do hold you back.
Yeah. I mean, so for you, definitely think not. You're doing so much traveling, it would be really unfair on the dog, in the
The
most
point I
basic
made,
sense.
the point I made was we're 19 now. We've just bought a house. We've got more responsibility than we've ever had in our entire lives. By equal measure, it's the least responsibility that we are ever going to have in terms of our jobs are going to become more demanding. Kids eventually one day, you know, as family are getting older, our commitments to them are going to increase. So why not just enjoy a few months of having as little responsibility as we do? Like we're busy as it is. I have to cram in recording podcasts with you sometimes to like squeeze in an hour here and there. You add a dog into
Mm,
that schedule, all of a sudden it just becomes unfeasible and something's got to give. And at the minute, I don't want anything in my life that I've got at the moment to go in to make room for a dog. As much as I love dogs, my parents have got a dog. George's mum's got two dogs. We've got enough dogs between us. Do you know what I mean? It's just that's
yeah.
not top of my priority list right now.
There's plenty of time.
Mm.
I think for you, it might feel already like you're slowly speed running life in that you're already 19 and you're working and you've got a house. I think maybe it's time to just slow it down a
Slow
bit.
down. Yeah, I said
Yeah.
that. I said that. It hasn't all got to happen
Um,
within a few months because then what do you look forward to?
yeah.
You've
And
got
you
it
talked
all.
about, wanting to be successful and stuff. And, not necessarily wanting to always be working a 9 to 5. You're not going to have that opportunity unless you have some time to dedicate to other stuff,
Exactly.
like the
Exactly.
podcast or whatever. So, yeah, a dog is not going to help. I mean, when we got our puppy, or our puppies, uh, it's like having a child. I mean, obviously, I've never had a child, but it's like my parents say it's akin to
Constant
having a child.
attention.
I mean, when it's a puppy, you have to obviously like toilet train them, and then at night they're going to howl because they don't have their mother. Um, so it's very stressful. Obviously, if
Yeah.
you're like adopting a dog or getting one from a rescue shelter, that is preferable because they're probably already like toilet trained and they're not going to cry. Um, but yes, I'd definitely recommend not doing that at the moment.
Not for now. They're cute. Like they're cute. I love dogs, but they're more than just someone you can wake up and have a cuddle with, and then someone else's problem. All of a sudden, that's before we even started talking about the cost of food, the cost of vet bills, the cost of dog sitters, the cost of insurance, all these things. Like
Yeah, I walk past the
it's not
dog food in
feasible.
Morrison's every morning, and it's like £7.50 for the like tripe that they have.
Yeah.
And that's not even the best for them. Like if you want your dog to have the best sort of stuff, like you'd give them like raw meat and like raw hide and
Well,
stuff.
Georgia's dogs have this dry food, and for a bag about that big, it's like £28, and it lasts
Yeah,
half a month. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that's not top of my priority list. But we were talking about what you would have if you were, wealthy and financially free. I think a dog would probably be up there, and I imagine it's the same for you too.
Mm, yeah, for sure.
What
I
else
think
though? What else? What would like say top five things if you were financially free that you could splash on?
Yeah, I think I'd definitely get a nice house. I think that would partly be just because, like, oh, it's cool. I've got a nice house. When I've gone to other people's houses as a kid, I've been like, oh, wow, I wish I had that house. Um, but then that's also playing into like what I want for my kids rather than what I want for myself, because I'd like my kids to grow up in a nice house. They don't have
Yeah,
to.
naturally.
Um, yeah, but I'd like them to. So that would definitely motivate me. A lot of it comes from like what I'd like my kids to have. So other than a house, uh, I think it would also be sick to have a really cool home gym. Fitness and working out is something I'm very passionate about. I hope that like settling down in a house doesn't prevent me from enjoying that. So I would build a really cool home gym because for those who didn't know, I did actually have a home gym at home because during the pandemic, obviously we couldn't go to the gym. So rather than just not going to the gym, I bought some equipment to go in the conservatory at home. I got it all from Mirror Fit because everywhere was out of stock. Because obviously everywhere was buying, like everyone was buying home gyms. So I
Mm.
got a squat rack. if you're trying to get a squat rack, if anyone wants advice on how to get a squat rack, you don't want a full rack, you want a half rack. Half racks are like we had at school, and like they have. Do they have half racks at Bath? No, they're full racks at Bath. The problem with a full rack is that you've got two pillars, the front one and the back one. So you feel like you're kind of trapped between two sides. So you can't like if you want to bring the barbell out, say to do like deadlifts or like RDLs or something, you have to like tilt the bar like this to get it through the like
They've already
cage.
completely exerted yourself before the movement actually starts.
Yeah, so like maybe they look cooler. Like I thought it looked more sturdy, and I think it was cheaper. But I would recommend getting a half rack because then you can literally just step away from it. You know, if you want to do your squats like really far away from the thing, you can then do that. Also, if you're building a home gym, get some proper floor mats. So if you were building a home gym, right, we've talked about the most crucial part, I'd say, which is the squat rack. So preferably a half rack. What else do you think you'd want in there? So I'm guessing you'd want
In
a
a home
home gym
gym.
as well.
See, I don't know about this because I quite like getting in my car and going to the gym. I feel like I've been out of the house because there are some days where I just go to the gym and
Hmm.
that's the only time I leave the house. Obviously working
Yeah.
from home. And when I'm doing the podcast full time as well, like it would just be a case of, working from home all week. So I
Nah,
don't
because you'll be
necessarily,
flying to guests, so like you'll be
of
going out of the house. Don't you worry
course,
about
either way. But if I were to just, for efficiency reasons, have a home gym, I never bench. You need a bench, but I wouldn't necessarily need like a bench rack thing because I don't bench. So that would be just null and void. But yeah, you need a bench. I'd have a dumbbell like rack thing going from probably like I don't know, George would use it as well. So I'd go from like 6 kg to just the max heaviest dumbbells you can get, just in case I ever got to a point where I was lifting those. Um, Treadmill, a couple of treadmills, probably a bike, like a decent thingy bike, 3 or 4 cables. One thing that really annoys me about every gym I've ever been to is they only have one fly machine. So I'd have two fly machines just to spite every gym I've ever been to, even though I only need one, because they're very useful. Uh, like I'd probably just have an entire gym. Like I wouldn't have space for all of the stuff I'd get in there. But if I had to have 5 things, we'll say that are crucial that I need in my home gym. I probably wouldn't even bother with a treadmill, but you can just go for a run. Dumbbell rack, a bench, a cable, and a fly machine. And I think with those 4 things, you can do everything you need, at least for your upper body. Legs may be a bit more complex, but I think with those 4 things, you can do most of what you need to do. What would you say? If, say 5 pieces of equipment you're limited to.
So you're not including a rack. You wouldn't have a
I guess I'd
rack.
have a squat. I guess I'd have a squat rack, and then you can use it for. That's just so versatile, isn't it? And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you may as well. I guess if you could get one where you can do pull-ups off it and stuff like that as well, that'd be handy.
Yeah. My five would be also so a squat rack, dumbbell rack,
Mm.
bench. Um, yeah, probably a cable machine because then you can literally just do anything.
Yeah,
Obviously they're
yeah.
ridiculously expensive and massive, but you know,
They're
we're
only
talking
like a
about if
grand,
money
aren't
was
they?
not. I guess it depends how much you want to pay. I mean, you can get for the cages, you can get attachments. Like, so for my cage, it would be about 100 quid to get a sort of cable attachment. Obviously, that's very primitive, and you're not getting the sort of
Mm.
blocks. You're getting it. What it's one of those where you put the weight plates onto it. Um,
Mhm.
so there's always stuff you can do on a budget. Um, yeah, I mean, there's just so many machines, aren't there? I think because if you think about like a leg day you'd probably want to do some leg extensions. You'd probably want to do some
Mm.
hamstring curls. I think to
Some
in a
sort of
home
leg
gym,
press or hack squat or something like that.
yeah, to feel like you're not restricted, I think you'd need quite a big setup. Um,
Then again, we're talking about if we've got massive gaps and many like we're not talking about in this 2 up, 2 down house trying to squeeze it in there.
yeah,
This house has got a cellar, by the way, which is covered up. We could. This house has a cellar. We could. My dad wants to knock it through, but I just think
yeah, that'd be
it sounds
so.
like a lot of hard work.
Yeah, but it does make the
And
house like how big's the cellar?
I don't know. That's the thing, and also like foundations wise, if the cellar
Yeah,
if
what if
it's
the house just
resting
falls
on,
into it?
if the house just collapses into the cellar, it's a big risk. But that could be an optimal space for a home gym. But
Yeah,
then,
for sure.
yeah, you know what? No, I back it. But it's just a case of if the house falls down, then a bit long, isn't it? I'd rather it didn't if I could help it. Um,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
anyway,
anyway, we digress. Yeah, I
yeah,
would.
it's been an episode about you moving into your house. Obviously, again, we're on the path. This is just the beginning of the journey. I'm sure you'll update people on how the move-in's going. I'm sure there'll be issues that you'll run into. I'm surprised it's been so smooth sailing so far, to be honest.
I feel like
Um,
it's been more stressful than I give it credit. I just can't remember. I've just erased all of the negativity from my memory
raised,
because it's just been stressed. So just better to
yeah,
think about the good. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, so I'm fairly happy here. I think it's important to point out this isn't like a main episode for our loyal listeners. This is just a sort of catch up for me
update.
and George, and to yeah, an update to keep you guys in the loop of why my background's going to change. Um, Again, because we've got so many listeners, so it's so crucial to keep them in the loop. Um, but yeah, we'll have a proper episode out for you on Monday. What's that going to be on? What's the topic of it going to be?
Religion.
Cold. Yeah, that's a juicy episode. So we'll get into
We're gonna
that.
make up for this one
Um,
with a fat one.
yeah, this has just been us. There's no plan or anything or preparation for this. I've literally jumped off a work call. George has got home from uni, and we've just gone. Yeah, let's have a chat.
Yeah,
So yeah, apologies for the disjointed nature of it, but I'm in my house now, so you guys will know that. Hope you know a little bit more about what the process has been like and what the difference is between maybe being at uni and sort of having this pressure on you when you're this age. Um, Stay tuned for Monday. That's going to be that'll be a long episode, I think, a juicy one too. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening this far if you have, and as I say, keep posted for the good ones that are on the way.
good stuff. Thanks, people.